We will not copyright or trademark that. We do not have the rights to this at all. Please do not sue us. Thank
you. Welcome to These Unprecedented Gays, featuring Joe Granelli and Paul Smith. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and review wherever you stream your podcasts. Check us out on Instagram at tugayspod and email us at tugayspod@yahoo.com. We hope you enjoy. Hey, Tuggers and Tuggettes. This week we were lucky enough to get an interview with A-list celebrity stunt person Chris Romrell, who has done stunts for Chris Hemsworth and is the preferred stunt person for Chris Pratt. So, with that being said, we did this over a Zoom call, so the audio quality that you're used to may not be there. But it's a great episode, and we hope you enjoy.
Oh, she listen to her. I was being recorded. I know. I miss our drumstick count-in.
Well, and I'm also like, she's like, oh, recording has started. And I'm like, oh,
she was sexual. I know. Am I sexual? Oh, sorry. Damn it. We can't sing. Am I sexual? Backstreet Boys. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm Paul.
Oh, yeah. I'm Joe. Hi.
And we're These Unprecedented Gays. Before we get into our week and mouth to mouth and everything, we want to let everybody know that we do have a guest visiting us in the studio. Chris Romrell is here. So,
hello.
Oh,
that's my
impressive.
I'm Chris Romrell. Hello.
Oh, there's an R. I thought it was Rommel. I can't read.
That's okay. I answered everything.
Okay. Well, Romrell works for that's a mouthful. That's a mouthful.
That's not the first time you heard that. Oh. So, Joe, how was your week?
Well, I think we first need to talk about the elephant in the room and the fact that we are all in different locations right now because I am a victim of COVID-19 and that I have COVID. So I can't be with you guys, but I'm there in spirit.
Oh, well, we miss you.
But I miss you. Jinx, bitch. No, my week was fine. So I got COVID and that's about it. Yeah. So I've been staying home and doing my part to save the world. And Nick brought me a bunch of stuff from Whole Foods, which was very kind. And by a bunch of stuff, I mean the entire bakery section. So, yes.
Awesome.
And you?
I didn't have a week, so I'm just like, we could get right into.
What do you mean you didn't have a week? How did you not have a week? Did you just fast forward time? Are we? Is this one of those weeks that we're really boring?
Yes.
Okay.
Another one.
Okay, DJ Khaled, chill out. Another one. Another week.
All I do was sit around.
Same.
So we're going to go right into our favorite segment, which is Giving Us Life. What's giving us life? What do we love? Everything about. We're going into mouth to mouth. Mouth to mouth. Resuscitation. All right, so we're going to start with our guests. Chris, is there anything you're living for right now? Anything that's giving you life? Anything you're loving?
Listen, my wife and I, we just finished Pam and Tommy, and that's a great show. If you haven't seen it, about Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee Jones on Hulu, it's amazing. That's giving me life.
Okay, were you in that?
No.
How about the original?
Oh no. He's too young to be in the original.
Yeah. I think I am. Yeah, I think I'm too young for that.
I don't know. Maybe he was the stunt dick. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely wasn't. That would have been highly illegal if I was.
Oh, I mean, it's only illegal if you get caught, right? That's my 2 cents.
So, Joe, what are you obsessed with?
Well, thank you for asking. So I have never been a fan of murder mysteries or serial killer documentaries until this weekend. And so all serial killer documentaries, all murder mysteries, unsolved mysteries. My worst roommate. What did I watch? The World's Worst Roommate. I watched Chasing Criminal season 1 and season 2. I was hooked on The World's Worst Roommate or whatever when the first episode was a serial killing grandmother. And I was like, I'm in. She murdered all of his people and buried them into her backyard. And I was like, all right, I can get on board with that. So I'm obsessed, and I've been obsessed for the past however many days and since Saturday, every single thing. But it's gotten to the point where like I like locked my windows, and I have like little like window lock thingies where you like twist and like it sucks them in place so that they can't open, because I was like, what if someone comes to try and like kill me when I'm sleeping? That happened on episode 2 of Chasing Killers. She was killed in her sleep. And then the Phoenix serial killer that murdered people in the drive-by shootings in Phoenix, Arizona, I had to walk Max, actually, well, take him out because I can't really do anything. And I was like, what if I get shot by the Phoenix serial killer who is behind bars right now?
It could happen.
I know. I could be at number 14.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh no, God. So that's what I'm obsessed with, and it's kind of like slowly killing me inside. But I'm living for it, because I'm like, ooh, how are these people gonna die? Oh, they're buried under the house in France. Cool. What about you?
I am obsessed with 2 things right now. The first one is Minx on HBO Max. It is about the start of a male nude magazine, kind of like Playgirl, but I'm like, there's a lot of penis in the first episode, and I'm all there for it. Like hello,
Euphoria? Like Euphoria,
only more.
Really?
And I had to turn off the closed captioning just so I could see the penis.
But then you couldn't read the dick. How are you going to see it? Paul, how do you know what they're saying? It's speaking to you.
It doesn't matter because I was dickmatized, so it's fine.
Oh, okay.
And then on the other side of that, I'm obsessed with Kataro Lives Alone. It's a new anime on Netflix, and it's about a 5-year-old boy who has his own apartment and lives in a building by himself and his neighbors and everything. So it's weird.
Is it an anime?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's on
Netflix.
Okay.
Remember when I said that earlier? Kataro Lives Alone on Netflix.
I got COVID brain.
All right.
I'm blaming it. Everything COVID brain.
So, all right. So I already introduced our special guest for this week. His name is Chris Romrell. Did I pronounce that right, the last name?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. And he is a stuntman in Hollywood. And I'm going to give
a habit.
I know he's stunting, honey. Stunting.
With an exclamation point. House down boots.
And you're the main stunt person for Chris Pratt. And
I am. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, hello. And you've been in a lot of different movies like Guardians of the Galaxy. And I saw you in a Captain America thing too, like cosplay.
Yeah. So I got linked up with Chris on Avengers: Infinity War, and that rolled into Endgame. And I'm doing Guardians of the Galaxy 3 right now. Those are like 3 of the 7 movies I've done with Chris so far.
Wow!
To toot your own horn, 3 of the 7.
Yeah. No, here comes the train, choo choo. Yeah, it's me.
So why don't you give our listeners a little background on you, like who you are, where are you at, like how did you get
blood type,
into being
social
a stunt?
security number, credit card number?
That is such a big question. Well, let's start with my social. So I grew up in American Fork, Utah. When I was growing up there, it was a 3-pony town. It's kind of a big deal now, but I didn't know anybody in the film industry. And so me and my friends, we met at a karate gym, and we started worshiping Jackie Chan and decided that that's what our goal was. We wanted to be stuntmen. We didn't know how to do it, but one of them had a high-8 camera, and we started making our own fight scenes, teaching ourselves to fall and fight for camera or whatever. And just kind of kept at it for way too long and stumbled into doing stunts as a job.
Oh, very cool. Now, how did you get into making that into a career in Hollywood?
That's what I was going to ask.
Well, I was going to school. I had a kind of a part-time job, and I was pursuing stunts at the same time. And in Utah, there's a wonderful film community, but it's all low budget, no budget stuff that like plays in Eastern Europe or whatever.
She needs that coin.
Yeah, or like Lifetime Channel Christmas movies.
Hey, those are the best.
Yeah, but a lot of these low budget shows would be like, they didn't have any action. They didn't have the budget for action. But me and my friends were like, we'll work for peanuts, and they're like, awesome. And then we basically got to design action and show them how to shoot it, and basically we were able to build up really good stunt reels, just show reels of our stunts. And I was able to send mine out, and it got traction among some Hollywood stuntmen. And I started getting calls. Like, my first call was actually to double Ryan Reynolds for Deadpool 2. But that didn't end up working out. And then my second call was actually to double Chris for Infinity War. And so I went out to Georgia, where I currently live, to film Infinity War. And now I'm stuck here.
So do you live in Georgia, the country, or the state?
Man, Georgia, the country
city
might be more interesting, but I live in Georgia.
There's a country, Georgia?
There sure is.
Where?
It's like
in Georgia.
Eastern Europe. It's gorgeous.
Is it Georgia's?
It's gorgeous.
I want to say, you said peanuts, not penis, right? And you wanted to double Chris?
Yeah,
what
I
is
peanuts,
doubling Chris, and how do I do that?
Yeah, lots of innuendo to be done there.
I love this.
So what was it about being a stuntman that attracted you? Why that?
Probably because I'm riddled with ADHD, and a desk job would have murdered my soul. And I don't think that I would have been good at anything else. Honestly, I'm really good at falling down and not good at much else. So it was kind of the only thing that, I basically had to work out, or, I'd be a zombie. I don't know.
So do you have a specialty for stunting? Because I know some people are good at car chases. Some people are better at falling out of a window, that kind of thing.
Well, I'm 6'3", and I am currently 230 pounds, and I flip like a much smaller person. So I'm acrobatic, and I can screen fight like a much smaller person as well, kind of do some Hong Kong style fight choreography and things like that. And there's not a lot of stunt people that are my size that can do that. And so that kind of became my thing. I was kind of a tall guy that could do the acrobatic stuff.
Okay, and how tall is Chris Pratt? He's not
he's
very
6'3"
tall,
as well.
He is
6'3". Wow,
I did not know that. Maybe I'm getting him mixed up with Tom Cruise, because he's 5'4".
Yeah, tiny. Yeah, Tom Cruise does his own stunts, doesn't he? Or no?
That's a complicated subject, but
you're peeling away the curtain from the Hollywood Insider right now. You can't reveal this information.
However, he does it after basically his stunt double, they are contractually not allowed to talk about doing stunts for him, which is kind of a BS move. But anyway, they set it up for him. They'll set up the stunt. They'll go through all the dangerous portion, which is basically the R&D, the research and development portion, and they will develop the stunt and basically make it foolproof, right? Just pages and pages and pages of notes on how to perform it. And then Tom will come in and perform it for camera. So Tom does do it, not to take away that from him. And some of these stunts they're big stunts, but they have been checked and verified, and all the safety measures have been put in place. So I think
less
there's some credit that needs to be going out to some stunt people that make him look really good.
So how long does it take for them to R&D a stunt for a movie? And then do you have any oh, that was my dog. He was just yawning.
Wait, that sounded that was Cooper? He sounded like a baby crying.
I know. But how, and do you have any say in the research and development for those stunts?
Yeah, so I help design a lot of the action, especially when it's a show for Chris. I help make sure that the action leans heavily into his strengths. And we try to push the envelope, try to do something different, try to make it look exciting and fresh, and do as much of that as we can. The research and development can take a long time. On shows where the action is very important to the producers or the director, they will give the stunt team months of prep to figure these sequences out, to previs them, to go back and forth and kind of get it just right, so that everybody knows what they're doing on the day. But mostly on most shows, the budget just isn't there to do that. So oftentimes, the stunt team is kind of trying to fit in time to figure these stunts out in between, dialogue setups,
Yeah, that's
So
what
it
I was
really
going to
depends on the
ask.
show.
So are you guys involved like early on in like the development process of the movie, or is that not really the case?
That's the ideal scenario, yes. So the ideal
Gotcha.
scenario is, say there's this big action movie. They'll bring a stunt team on months early to train the team, to prep the action, to do all that. That's the ideal scenario, yeah.
Oh, so like, what's the relationship like between like the actor and his double? Like, you've done 7 movies, you said, for Chris Pratt. So like,
Yeah.
what is that relationship like? Is it like as soon as he signs on a movie, they automatically get you? Like,
Yeah. So Chris is Chris is my friend, and he brings me along, right? He requests me, or I'm in his contract, and so I'm kind of part of his deal, right? When they bring him on, they bring me on as well. It depends, though. Some actors, they don't have a preferred double, or they have kind of this guy they liked on the last one. They're like, well, get Greg. Greg was cool. So it really depends on what your relationship is with the actor.
okay.
Yeah.
And now, besides Chris, did you do anybody else's stunts on Infinity War or Endgame or any of those?
Yeah, on Endgame, I did the whole last battle sequence as Thor. So Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man fighting Thanos. The original double for Hemsworth, Bobby Hanton, who is phenomenal. Him and Chris were off filming Men in Black, and so they weren't available to do the reshoots for the end action sequence, which they just redid the whole thing. So I stepped in, and they basically just dotted my face and even shot the dialogue portions so they could map Hemsworth's face onto me later.
No. Oh
Yeah,
my God, that's so crazy. The magic of movies, everything's fake.
Yeah.
He probably should have.
A movie that big is like you have all these giant actors, and just getting 4 of them in a room together is really hard and expensive. So they just have to do what they got to do,
Yeah.
Wow.
Plus, Chris Hemsworth shouldn't have shot Men in Black anyway, so it's fine.
Wait, he was it? Yeah, I was like, Chris. He was. When did they do Men in Black? I guess I did not.
It was kind of a reboot.
Did it not get? It was a reboot that should have not got rebooted. Maybe turn the computer off.
Making movies is hard. Making a good movie is 5 times harder than that. So,
sorry, backtrack to the stunt double of that section of, what was it, Endgame? How does that even work? Because do you have to then like learn the moves? You're here for one reason, and they're like, hey, by the way, you're here. Can you actually do all the stunts for this other thing? Like, if it's all not pre-planned, how do you then do it?
So all of Infinity War and Endgame, I was part of the core stunt team. So there's a group of like 10, 12 of us. They were there the entire time, and pretty much every day we were shooting some sort of previs for some battle sequence. I mean, these movies are just such heavy action that there was always something to shoot and show the Russo brothers, right? And so basically what happened is they had shot most of Endgame, but they were waiting for Infinity War to come out so they could get audience reaction. And then once Infinity War came out and they got audience reaction, that required them to rewrite certain pieces of Endgame. And they tweaked the ending of Endgame. And so we went back and we developed a new end fight sequence that included, Iron Man and Captain America and Thor working together. So we previs that, worked that out. Bobby Chris Hemsworth's stunt double wasn't available. So I was close enough to the sizes to fit in the costume and got the gig.
How long are the hours on those days? Like, are you on set for like, what is it? Are these like 16-hour days or something?
I don't know that I experienced any 16-hour days on Infinity War and Endgame. The AD team and the producers and everybody were just incredible at scheduling and doing all that stuff. So I don't think we ever went that far over time. But the days can be grueling because the suits, they aren't. I mean, they move well, and they've developed. The costumers have developed a system over the years to make them kind of able to move, like a whole gusset system, but they're still very structured, and so you get overheated. You know, also with I was doing the Fat Thor bit, so I had like this heavy beard and this wig piece. Basically, I remember at one point we were probably 8 hours in doing this action sequence where I was kind of doing this sequence with the fellow who was playing Thanos, and I get blown back into this rock, boom, and I remember starting to black out because I was just so overheated and I'd lost so many fluids.
Oh no.
But I was still only halfway through the sequence, so I'm starting to black out and like just struggling to remember the choreo as it was happening. So it felt like a long time, but I think most days were 10 hours long.
Still a long day.
Story short.
Jeez, okay.
That's crazy. So who's your favorite actor to work with besides Chris Pratt?
There is no other actor. Chris Pratt is the only actor. I need to say this and be for serious. Chris Pratt is the best actor to work with I've ever worked with. And that's not just blowing smoke up his butt or because he's my boss or my friend. I mean that sincerely. I'm the luckiest stunt guy in the world. Everybody tells me so. But besides that, I really liked Taylor Kitsch, who's going to be in Terminal List, coming out on July 1st. I mean, I don't know. Here's the thing is I've met a bunch of actors and I feel like they're all pretty chill. They're all really cool people. The only ones that are kind of buttholes are the ones that are like on the B or C list, you know, and they just feel like they got a chip on their shoulder. You know, they come in and they feel like they got something to prove or something. I don't know. But pretty much everybody that's working at a certain level just seems very kind and down to earth.
Even Robert Downey Jr.?
Especially Robert Downey Jr., actually. You know what's crazy? One of my first days, so I came from Utah, right, straight to Infinity War. And as I told you, scheduling a lot of these superstars is hard. So what ended up happening is a lot of the over-the-shoulders where there's Star-Lord, that's me standing in for him, you know, and reading lines so that people have something to bounce off of. So I didn't know this was going to happen. I didn't know this was going to be part of my job for that one. Anyway, I show up for a regular just stunt rehearsal day. So I think they're like, hey, you're going to get in costume. And so I go and I get in costume and I show up on set and I'm like, cool. It's so cool to be on a big set. And then they're like, hey, has anyone handed you your sides yet? I'm like, sorry, what? And they're like, oh, let me get you some sides. And they hand me this script and there's like 4 different pages. And on each page, I have a paragraph of dialogue. So as I'm reading through it, I'm not looking at the other names on the pages because I'm just like, holy crap, I got to memorize this or try to. And so I'm sitting there flipping through it just madly, just going back and forth. They're like, all right, come in and stand on your marks. I come and stand my marks. And as I'm sitting there flipping through this, I see these shoes enter my eye line and stand on some other marks. And this guy goes, hi, I'm Robert. And reaches out his hand. And I look down and it's Robert Downey Jr., you know, introducing himself to me. I'm like, hey, Robert, I'm Chris. And he's like, blah, blah, blah. And we talk a little bit, you know. And then, you know, in steps Benedict Cumberbatch. And he's like, hi, I'm Benedict.
Oh, my God, stop.
Hi, I'm Chris, you know. And they're just like, it was just this really down-to-earth moment with 2 superstars. And I just thought that was really cool.
I'm such a Marvel fan, like it comics and movies, so I'm like, I would freak the fuck out. Like,
would you poop your pants, Paul?
Yes, I'd be like, Doctor Strange, oh my God, let me wear your cape.
So I want to double you, bitch.
Yeah. So you're from Utah. Does that mean that you are Mormon?
I grew up Mormon, yeah.
Okay, because that's how you know Nick, our producer. You guys went to high school.
Well, I know
together.
Nick from school. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you still or do you still practice being Mormon, or do you guys practice, or do you are you professionals now? I don't know what that means. Okay, so you don't.
Mormon.
Yeah. And and you, how did you meet your wife? I'm going to go back to stunting, but I want to hear a little bit about your personal life. I'm sure our listeners do.
Yeah.
Because
I actually met her in high school as well.
Because she is gorgeous.
She is stunting as well.
Yeah.
And I think you're gorgeous too, but your wife is.
Oh yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
So how did you guys meet?
We met in high school. We dated a little bit, and I broke it off. I was like, I was just a butthead, you know.
You weren't ready.
I wasn't ready. I was too young, right? Anyway, about 7 years after that, we reconnected on a friend's little film project, and the timing was just right, and it worked out for us. So yeah.
Oh, nice.
What a movie romance.
And now, is she in the business also, or no?
She's getting back into it. So she is an actress and a model. She's kind of letting the model thing go aside, and she's pursuing acting hardcore right now. We have 2 kids, a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. Now we're kind of at a moment where we can kind of put them in school and give her some freedom to go and pursue her own ambitions. And she's crushing it. She's got, I think, 2 or 3 more auditions. This week, and she's booking things left and right. She's doing really well. Yeah.
Damn. Y'all be successful.
Really
oh,
okay.
Fine.
Do you have to sign an NDA?
That's what. Yeah. These. Yeah.
Well, luckily, I have never ever seen or heard of Chris Pratt doing anything that he would need somebody to sign an NDA for. Freaking, he's the nicest dude.
But what about the secrecy of all the movies that you have to keep under wraps? Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant I'm talking about actors or something. No.
Well, that's secret stuff. It's confidential information, right?
Yeah, I we have NDAs, especially for Marvel stuff, just because the fandom of Marvel, these nerds are so clever. Nerds are so clever. Freaking Reddit, they'll see a trailer and they'll see a reflection of a car mirror, and they're like, oh, it's such and such bad guy, and it's going to be this timeline, and this is happening, and because of that, this happens. And they have the whole movie figured out. Huh. So they have to be super careful, right? So, when we were doing Endgame, the actors didn't even know what was going on. Some of them had fake scripts.
Really?
Yeah.
But can you tell, your friends and family, obviously not friends.
I talk about it all the time with my friends. I'm like, yeah, so-and-so is dying in this one, or whatever,
So you clearly are violating those confidentiality agreements.
I'm following the spirit of it, It's not like my wife is going to tweet it.
Oh, she will. We're going to get her contact information and be like, hey, girl, what did he tell you today? What's he filming on? Hey, remember that one movie where Chris is in the, saving the world and, gets, what is the one where he goes, jumps into the future or whatever?
Yeah, Tomorrow War.
Were you on that one?
I was, yeah. It was great.
Oh, great job. Good work.
Thank you.
I liked that movie. Yeah. Yeah.
So where's the coolest place that you've gone for filming? I mean, Tomorrow War, you filmed in Iceland or something,
that was
right?
The coolest. That was the coolest by far. Iceland is a really cool place. We filmed up on a glacier on the back end of Iceland, and you had to take a snowcat up onto the hill to get in, and it was awesome. Big fan of that place.
Yeah, I stalked his Instagram, so I saw the thirst traps too. I was like, "Oh, hello!"
Yeah. I have seen them right now because I have 2 monitors, and I have you on the left and you on the right. I will say Instagram versus reality. It's true.
Our listeners need a little bit more of that.
A little more what?
A little more thirst traps.
Yeah. Well, let me just describe my abs to them. There's one.
There are 12.
Soft.
There's 12. Let's go. I can put. Do you want me to share this screen? 15.
So, who's someone you haven't worked with yet that you would love to work with?
Oh man, there's a lot actually. I mean, if we're talking directors, I would love to work with Quentin Tarantino.
Nice.
I think that his process is really neat, and I would love to learn from him. I think that would be a big one. But the thing is I'm just kind of enjoying the ride as I go along. I'm not thinking too much about that, I guess.
And then, how did you like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I
Since that
loved
was
it.
very like stuntman-esque.
Yeah, but I think it's really hard because like Cliff Booth, Brad Pitt's character, I mean, that's a really high mark of swagger to live up to, right? Like, I can't live up to that.
But I mean,
Yeah,
you're
you
kind of
can.
there because you're like 6'3", so that's like
Yeah.
a lot of swag right there.
Yeah, it counts for something. Yeah. Like, I don't like chew an apple, and people are like, "Wow, I wish I was that apple right now."
I think we all do, especially after this picture I'm looking at. Oh yeah, he's got the wired headphones. You know it's old.
Yeah.
So, what's the scariest stunt or the stunt that made you the most nervous to do?
I don't know. Actually, that's probably back in the YouTube days. I used to do a lot more sketchy things in feature films. They have these giant insurance companies that don't let us do fun things anymore. So, like everything's super safe, and like I said, we have plenty of rehearsal time to kind of take all the danger out of it. But back in the day, doing a bunch of YouTube content, like Assassin's Creed parkour videos in real life and things. And we'd go to these places and, I'd be jumping gaps across buildings, 30 stories in the air. Those are the kind of more dangerous ones where I was wearing like shoes that looked good on for costume, but had like no traction and running across slippery roofs or whatever. So I would say those were kind of the dangerous ones.
Do you hate having to do a harness stunt? Like,
They're not comfortable.
They're just like grabbing all over there, and like, what's the longest you've been in a harness for?
All day.
Oh, that's a personal question,
Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah.
All day. You got some
All day.
stamina.
Yeah.
I want to actually ask questions about like the costumes, because you said that they're like basically metal rigs, right? So when you're doing the stunts and you're like wearing the quote unquote costumes, like, are they actually the costumes, or they're just like CGI that they print on after?
Well, it depends. Like the superhero costumes, they're just very well structured, right? So, like for instance, Star-Lord's costume, he has this like leather jacket and some pants that they look leather, but they're like this heavy canvas stretch material. But basically, what they end up doing is they'll just cut holes through these magnificent costumes that cost tens of thousands of dollars to make. They'll just cut holes so that they can run the lines through them, right? And then they have to sew them up every night. And then the next time we do a wire thing, they have to cut them open again. So it's kind of a whole thing.
Huh.
Okay, so this is a very important question, and I need you to listen very carefully to me. Can you send me a Star-Lord mask?
I wish I had a Star-Lord mask.
That was one of the questions I was going
I
to
was
ask.
just
Do you
about
have
to
any
say something, and I was
personable?
like, wait, nope, that's a spoiler. Can't tell you anything.
You can tell us.
No.
You can also send us some of Chris Pratt's like personal clothing
Ooh.
if you want to. Hey, I could sell that on eBay and make a fortune.
Hey, Chris, can I take out your laundry for you? No reason. Just
Yeah,
let me take it out.
especially your underwear. There's a cult following. I know he's a boxer briefs boy. I can make money on that.
Wow.
So I know that I just asked you about that, but like, is there any souvenirs that you get to keep from the movies, or anything that you have kept from the movies that nobody knew about?
Well, I haven't on many movies. Usually I, get hats or whatever. But on this one, I'm definitely going to liberate the rehearsal Star-Lord guns.
Yeah,
Just take
the
stuff
element
and don't
guns.
tell anyone. I mean,
Yeah.
you could be just
No, they'll
take it
find me.
all. Just
And
take it.
the props guys, they know me. They'll call me up and they'll be like, Chris, we heard the podcast. Don't do it.
Oh, but also like give us Chris Pratt's underwear.
Yeah.
So,
I don't have an underwear fetish, I promise.
yeah, right.
I don't, but if you want to send it to me,
Manila
I can develop
envelope
one.
in a Ziploc. Thank you.
So, what's the worst injury that you've ever had?
Let's see here. I shattered my nose, but that's boring, man. Like I was just training and I just fell on my back and that was fine. And then my leg was just, I held it too loose. And so it just smashed my nose. My own knee smashed my face.
Did you have to get reconstructive surgery?
I did, yeah.
Really? Oh, you had a nose job?
They did a great job.
Yeah, it looks great.
That's why it's so beautiful.
Oh, wow. Look at that side profile. Oh, comes to a tip. There you go.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you, because a large portion of our audience, I think, is gay. We're gay. So I'm going to ask
Paul, I was like, what audience? It's Andy and Nick. I was like, they're all gay. What do you mean? Oh, sorry, Cooper. I assumed his sexuality.
Yeah, exactly. Don't put that on my dog. We're letting him decide for himself. But, is the stunt world like homophobic? Like, do you see
not
that?
At all.
Okay. So,
I mean, I'm sure there's probably people that are. I haven't encountered them. The stunt world is interesting in the fact that like a bunch of us are weirdos. We're kind of people that didn't fit into normal sports, or like we're circus performers or dancers, or just from really eclectic backgrounds. And we kind of follow the beat of our own drum. So there's not really, like a type, I guess,
Okay.
Is it a small industry? Like, are there a handful of you guys across the country, or I guess across the world?
Yeah. So there's a pool of about, I don't know, there's a lot of stunt people, right? But there's probably a pool of like 1,000 that you hear their names over and over again.
Okay. So that's small. Yeah. Not too much.
Especially at the kind of like level that you're performing at with these like Marvel movies that are doing billions in dollars and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Are you an A-list stuntman? A-list, right? That's the thing. Yeah. A-lister. You're an A-lister. You're my A-list stuntman.
Thank you. I mean, I don't know if that's a label I can, attach to myself, but if I can.
You can.
Yes.
Yeah. Put it on your Instagram.
Yeah.
You can't, but we will. So what's a myth about stunt people that isn't correct, do you think?
That we are daredevils. It's not the same thing, right? It used to be in the old days, like back in the 80s and the 90s. That's when stuntmen were nuts. They did a rail of coke before smashing a car off a cliff or something. That doesn't happen anymore. We're a lot more, we're like part scientist, part filmmaker, part athlete now, where, we develop these stunts so that they're repeatable. There's a lot less injuries, a lot less deaths on set, and the stunts are bigger and more exciting than they've ever been.
So what's some advice you would give for aspiring stunt people?
That's what I was going to ask, is how long can you do it for?
Well, you can do it for a long time if you're good at it. I feel like
expiring.
Yeah. I mean, there's dudes in their 60s that are still falling down. Like, good for them. All right. Advice for aspiring stunt people. First, I would say find a group of friends that, that are like-minded. Start picking up some skills, go to martial arts, take some gymnastics lessons, take driving lessons. Anything that you think a stuntman should know, you should probably go pick up that skill, right? Because if you have nothing to offer a production, why should they hire you? Find out where other stunt people are training. Most of them live in California, Georgia, some New Mexico, some New York. Find out where they train. Go to those gyms, train with them, make friends with them, network, follow them on Instagram. And, you can message them. A lot of these guys are super nice. These girls are super nice. If you have a question like, hey, how do I get into stunts? They'll be happy to answer it. Those are my suggestions.
Okay. Is there any stunt that was proposed to you that you've turned down because it was too dangerous or wouldn't do because it was too dangerous?
That has not happened. There's been plenty of times where the way a stunt has been proposed, I think is dangerous, like the way that they want to do it. But we will work out a way to do it that makes me feel more comfortable without losing how dynamic it is or how great it looks on camera. Sometimes it's just as simple as like if it's a wire work thing, just changing like where the pick point is located can sometimes make the difference between a concussion and something that just leaves a bruise.
Okay. Have you ever watched a movie and been like, oh, I wish I could have done that stunt?
Oh, all the time. All the time. So there's this thing called the Taurus Stunt Awards, and it's kind of like the Oscars for stunts. And all the time there's these awesome stunts. People like falling off buildings, tumbling off the roof, hitting another building, and bouncing into a dumpster or something. And I'm like, that looks awesome. I don't get to do that.
Sign you up.
Yeah.
I only get to pretend to shoot people with the element gun,
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to hear a funny story from any set you've been on that just always makes you crack a smile every time you think about it.
Man, a funny story. I don't know, man. There's no funny story. Oh, you know what? On Tomorrow War, I guess it's funny now. I almost killed like 5 people. We
okay,
were
Alec
up on
Baldwin.
the glacier. It's a legit glacier with like fissures that like you don't see until you're on top of them. They go like 60 feet down. And we were doing the sequence where we're kind of riding snowmobiles. They're just getting different camera passes of it. But we were kind of in and out of whiteout conditions. So we drove about a mile away from where the camera was, and our job was to just drive straight towards the camera. But as they were doing the countdown, 3, 2, this whiteout condition kind of comes in. It's not like a blizzard, but just like this low hanging fog. And what it does is the distinction between where the ground ends and the sky begins just becomes impossible to tell. So the whole thing just looks like this infinite white space.
Wow.
And so you have no idea which way you're going. But I had my steering wheel locked, and I'm in the front snowmobile. And they say 3, 2, 1, it's white out, and I'm like, all right, we'll just drive straight and we'll be fine. And so I'm driving straight, and I'm like looking around. All right, this is going well, and I think we should have seen him by now. I should stop. Nah, maybe I haven't gone that far. And so we just keep going. And then I see this little thin, like black line start to go bigger and bigger. And I think maybe that's like the row of cars. And as we're getting closer to it, all of a sudden this snowmobile rides up behind us. And it's one of the guides. And he's like, stop! He's freaking out, heavy Icelandic accent. And he comes blazing in front of us. And he's like, stop! Nobody get off of your snowmobiles. Anything under your feet could be like a hidden crevice and you could fall to your death. And he's like, you see that black line over there? And it's like 30 feet in front of us now. He's like, that's a 60-foot crevice, I'm like, I was driving straight towards that.
Oh, no.
And anyway, so we had to go back to the starting point and not die. So I almost killed like 5 people who were following me to our doom.
Wow.
That's the best story I got. I don't know. I'm not good at stories.
I don't think that's funny. I guess maybe in retrospect.
Well, I was like, Infinite White, that sounds like Congress.
Not yet. Oh, that's the Supreme Court with the new Supreme Court nominee.
We're political.
Yeah.
So, what's it like when a movie that you've worked on gets released? Like, do you get to go to like the premiere and do you get to be part of that and walk the red carpet, or do you just wait till it comes out in the theater near you and you go see it with your family and your kids are excited, or how does that? What are the feelings there?
Usually there's a cast and crew screening. I usually go to that. That's where they put the people they're ashamed of. We're not too glamorous, the not glamorous ones. And then they have a beautiful people screening called the premiere. So I don't go to the beautiful people one.
Why? You're a beautiful person.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
No,
Inside and out.
Sometimes I go to the premiere, like tomorrow where I went to the premiere. But yeah, most of the time I wait for it to come out in theaters.
Have you ever had to stunt double for Chris Pratt at a premiere?
Yeah. I've joked about that with him, like I'll just go do events for him. I'll go do like a press tour so he can just go hang out with his family or something.
Who did that? Somebody there was the Craig Robinson or somebody got someone off of Twitter to go to a premiere or something for him because he didn't want to go. I just remember seeing that. So
that's genius.
What's a stunt that you'd love to do? Do you have one that you have in your brain working that just hasn't been done yet, or that you've been working on?
I just really want to do some really cool driving sequences. That'd be amazing. But honestly, it really is story dependent. I just like action that kind of helps develop the story. I know that's probably a lame answer, but that's what I like.
So, have you ever been set on fire?
Yes, I have.
You have?
Yeah, that's actually a kind of a dangerous stunt. If you don't have a good team that's looking after you, it's one I think that has the highest percentage of injury.
Even more than a car crash or anything like that, huh?
I think that's, they're both pretty up there. Yeah.
Wow. Do they just have a lot of water handy to get the
what
fire
happens
out?
Is you have a Nomex suit usually underneath whatever it is you're wearing, and you don't want to be wearing any synthetics because synthetics can melt and stick to your skin, and it basically becomes like napalm. And usually they'll dip the Nomex in this gel, this fireproof gel, and then they will freeze it. So when you put it on, it's freezing cold. And all these things are fire barriers, and you want to have as many fire barriers as possible. But the problem with fire is that, you could be fine, you could be fine, you could be fine, you could be fine, but as soon as you feel the burn, it's already too late. Mm-hmm. You drop, and there's another 10 seconds before they come and get you, and you're blistered up. You already have 3rd-degree burns.
It's kind of like gonorrhea. Once you feel the burn, you start to feel the burn, it's too late.
Exactly.
Except there's no ointment for that one.
I'm just saying.
I've never been there.
Okay, Joe, you have COVID. Calm down.
That's actually the top 3 things I'll never end. I'll know the answer to. How to get COVID? Did I ever have gonorrhea? And what happened in Vegas?
Yes. You won't ever know if you don't ever ask.
I'll never know.
So do you ever do commercials too, or just movies?
I rarely do commercials.
Okay.
But commercials is this, it's kind of this really, so we were talking about how tight knit the stunt community is, about 1,000 people. The number of stunt people that do commercials is 10, because commercials are slot machines for stunt people. If you get a national commercial, let's say it's a 30-second McDonald's spot, it plays over, all over the nation, and it runs for a while. That one day of work could get you $300,000.
Oh, so you got the royalties. You collecting that coin. That's what I was going to ask. Obviously not divulging your salary or anything like that, but you get to pick up all of that residual money every time it's played, right?
Yeah. So, because we are part of the Screen Actors Guild.
Yes. Yeah. So, I was going to ask that too.
Yeah.
So how often are you working? Is this a full-time job? You work 300 days out of the year or something like that? What is that like?
Well, for me, I'm very fortunate, and I am working most of the year. It's kind of a runaway train for me, where we have to force ourselves to take time and go on vacations and things. So I'm very fortunate that way. So it can be a full-time, everyday kind of thing.
Very cool. Do they, when you get signed onto this stuff, they pay for you to go everywhere that you need to go, correct? Like that's
Yeah, I mean, there's some. So because I'm requested by Chris, they pay for whatever he wants, right? And
There you go. Get
he
that
requested me,
money.
so I go, right? But like
Okay.
usually, let's say if they're filming in LA, I'm from Georgia. If they're filming in LA, they'll want locals only. They don't want to fly anybody out. And if they fly somebody out, they're not going to. They're basically they don't want to pay for their flight and they don't want to pay for their lodging, so they have to be hired as locals. And so that's kind of a production rule. So sometimes is the answer. If you're a good enough double, like if they can't do without you, if you have a certain skill that they absolutely need, then they'll pay to fly you out or whatever. Otherwise, production will basically tell the stunt coordinator, not find somebody who's local that can do it.
Does that happen more often than not?
Yeah. I mean,
Really?
it's kind of a battle between production and in every other department, They're always trying to save dollars and every other department is like, but we want it to be good.
So what does your hat say? Is that the Avengers Endgame hat?
This is the Avengers Infinity War stunt team hat, yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. So are there people within the stunt community who are like known, like this guy is the master of being put on fire, this guy is the master of car chases and stuff like that? Is that like stuff that does happen within that community?
Yeah, there's most people are pretty well rounded, but there's some experts in every kind of subset, right? So there's fire experts, there's car chase experts, there's fight experts, there's swords experts. There's a bunch of different genres of stuntmen.
I think I'm a sword fighter expert.
I was gonna say, Paul, you're a sword slinger stuntman. Sword slinging stuntman's your drag name.
Okay, so we talked about commercials. What about TV shows? Have you been on any TV shows?
Not many. I mean, just because Chris just keeps me so busy. So mostly movies, but we just barely finished up a series for Amazon Prime called The Terminal List. It's going to be 8 episodes. So I'm excited for that one.
Is it not out, obviously? What's it called? Terminal?
No, July 1st. Yeah.
Are you allowed to tell us that, or are we like co-conspirators to like fraud?
No, I can tell you about this one. This one's awesome. It's so he plays a Navy SEAL who basically is working through a list of people that he's got to kill before he dies of terminal cancer.
Oh, damn.
And these are the people that are responsible for killing his men and killing his family. So it's kind of this revenge flick. It's pretty cool.
Okay. Watch it on Amazon Prime, y'all, July 1st. Go check it out.
You're going to see like a much darker, grittier Chris Pratt than you've ever seen, which is really cool.
Okay.
I mean, you're darker and grittier?
Yeah, very dark and gritty like Batman. So
yes. Come through, Robert Pattinson.
So what about female stunt people? Do you work a lot with them? Is there a large community of them within that community?
Yeah, so there's a large community of stunt women as well, and yeah, amazing stunt performers. Yes.
All right. Well, gosh, Joe, do you have anything else you wanted to ask me before we get to our quickfire questions? Oh, we forgot to tell you about that. We have quickfire questions for you, sir.
No.
Well, you answered. I mean, you asked one of my quickfire questions, and then
sorry about it.
I asked about Chris Pratt's underwear. And then do you know Anna Faris? Yeah. And also,
so you're
done.
Yeah,
I have one, but it's whatever.
All right. So we're going to our quickfire challenge. Pew, pew, pew. All right. So
I'm used to being shot at.
Yeah.
All right. So these are like 3 quickfire questions, and you just have to, whatever comes to the top of your head, So my first one is, who is your male and female hall pass?
Oh, male and female hall pass. All right. Wow. Get right to it. Okay. So, Brad Pitt, I mean, he's just unusually gorgeous, right? That's a given.
You can have him.
And the swagger that he has is insane. So, yeah. Female, oh man, that's tough. I don't know.
Or your non-binary hall pass. I mean, I'm trying to be inclusive.
Yeah, be inclusive. Who's your gender non-conforming hall pass?
Emma Watson used to be my big crush, but I think it's Lily Collins now. I think she's kind of my big crush.
Okay. All right. So if you were a Starbucks drink, what would you be?
Ooh, a Starbucks drink. Well, I think I'm pretty basic, but
pumpkin spice.
He's a basic bitch.
I would say like an Americano, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. High caffeine, but basic.
Expensive.
Yeah,
Americanos are expensive? Are they?
I don't know. Don't think so.
You're like, I don't pay for coffee. It's on Chris's budget.
I don't know. I haven't looked at a bank account in years. What's that cost? I don't care.
Yeah. We don't pay for coffee on the stunt set.
So, wait, Joe, I forgot to ask, who's your male and female hall pass?
I mean, I think you know my male hall pass, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Because he also can do action movies. So, Chris, if you ever need to stunt for him, let me know. And then I will just show up to the set or whatever.
Gonna be a stunt dick.
Oh my God. I love him so much. I don't care if he's problematic. That's fine. I don't know who my female would be.
Would you go near a female?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. After watching The Batman, Zoe Kravitz was fierce.
She was great,
I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
She carried that movie and it was like, you are pure sex. I don't know what that's like with a woman, but you are pure sex.
See, mine is, it was John Goodman when he was in the first round of Roseanne. Oh. I love a big man, okay? I want a potato. All right?
Do you still is your girl still Missy Elliott?
Oh, no, actually, it's Olivia Munn now. After she had a baby, I was like, oh, she's gorgeous. I love her. All right.
Who is she?
So, she was on Attack of the Show, and then she was Psylocke in the X-Men.
Oh, I have no idea.
Girl. All right.
She pretty, though.
Okay, so the last one is, if you were a supervillain, what would your name and power be?
I need time to think on this one. You guys go first.
You don't have time. It's a quick fire question.
Oh my goodness, it's a quick fire question. Okay, so if I were a super villain, I would hope that my power would be like power over time. I think that would be pretty badass, you know? Like, oh, you shot me. No, you didn't, sucker. Bam, dodge, punch in the face, you know? I don't know. I think that'd be cool.
What would your name be?
Hourglass. I don't know.
Oh.
Some
and then you got
like
that hourglass figure. She sits for the gods.
Yeah.
So what about you, Joe?
Oh God, I have no idea. I feel like, I don't know, like a power, I would hope to be able to undo. I would be like, you would call me Control Z because I would just undo shit. Or Command Z for Mac users. I'm universal in language.
So I would be either Fisto from He-Man. Oh. I'd have his power.
What'd you do? What kind of
but different? Or I'd be the lubricator because I'd shoot lube out at people. So
water-based or silicon-based?
Silicon-based because it's more dangerous.
Oh, it is. And it never leaves. Yeah, and they're going to be trying to just get it off their clothes. They're like, damn it, I can't do anything now because they need a Tide stick.
Damn you, the lubricator. So, all right. Well, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you, Chris, so much. And how can people find you on the socials?
Yes.
Well, they can look up my Instagram. They're going to be sorely disappointed.
No, they won't. He's got naked pictures.
3 out of 4 of my posts are family or oriented. I don't know. And then sometimes I'm like, here's a dumb video I made. I don't know. But it's Chris.Romrell on Instagram, Romrell. That's what I can find.
All right. And then besides the terminal list, what else do you have coming up that you can talk to us about?
Well, there's Jurassic World 3 coming out in June. working on Guardians 3. And I think those are the big ones.
Those are very big ones.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what she said. All right. Well, thank you, Chris, so much for being on our show. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And everybody have a great week.
All righty, guys. Have a good one.
Special thanks to Andrew Smith and Nick Stone for producing the show. If you like us, please follow us at tugayspod on Instagram and visit us online at tugayspod.com. You can find us anywhere you can stream podcasts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know topics you'd like to hear. And always remember, stay safe, stay classy, stay sassy, and always stay a little bit trashy. See you next week.